Hey everyone. You've probably been told that manifesting your dream life is hard, right? That it takes all these complicated rituals, endless hours of visualization, perfectly worded affirmations, and this constant, exhausting grind to raise your vibration. But what if I told you that true quantum manifestation is actually stunningly simple? So simple, in fact, that almost nobody does it correctly because they're too busy making it complicated. You are living inside a quantum field, right now. A field that is brimming with infinite possibility. A field that responds not to your brute effort, but to your deep, authentic alignment. And yet, most people approach manifestation like it's some kind of fight. They try to overpower their current reality with sheer willpower. They repeat affirmations they don't truly believe deep down. They visualize outcomes they secretly doubt will ever happen. And they force themselves to think positive, while their body, their nervous system, is still locked in old patterns of fear, scarcity, and stress. And this, right here, is where the whole system collapses. Because in the quantum world, forcing is friction. It creates resistance. So, let's strip this all down to something beautifully simple. Quantum manifestation is not about desperately trying to get what you want. It's about consciously collapsing the version of reality where you already have it, where you already are it. It's not about trying to change the external world first. It's about embodying the internal signal, the authentic frequency, that naturally pulls that desired world toward you. The quantum field holds every single possibility imaginable: success and failure, abundance and lack, deep love and profound loneliness, vibrant health and persistent struggle. All of it already exists as waves of probability, just waiting. But here's the absolute kicker: that wave of potential doesn't collapse into your lived, tangible reality until it meets a coherent observer. And that coherent observer? That's you. Your focus, your attention, your dominant emotional state, they are the sculptors of your reality. But most people are caught in a frustrating loop. They're observing their reality from a place of fear. They're constantly focusing on what's missing, on what they don't have. They're vibrating in the frequency of lack while simultaneously trying to pull in abundance. And in the clear, unambiguous language of the quantum field, this is just noise, not a clear signal. You've been taught to chase what you want. But the real art of manifestation, the true power, is to become the version of you that no longer needs to chase. It's the version of you that remembers, deep in your bones, I am already quantumly entangled with the life I desire. The field is simply waiting for my clear, consistent signal. My job is not to push harder, my job is to become clearer, more coherent in my being. So, why don't more people do this if it's so simple? Because, honestly, simplicity can be disarming. Because letting go of control often feels unnatural to our conditioned minds. Because surrendering the chase can mistakenly feel like giving up. But here's the profound paradox that almost no one talks about with enough clarity: the very moment you stop needing it so badly, the moment you release that desperate grip, the field can finally, effortlessly deliver it to you. Let me give you an example. Think about a time in your life when something wonderful came to you almost effortlessly. Maybe you, accidentally, ran into the perfect person at just the right time. Or you got an amazing opportunity you weren't even actively seeking. Or you had a breakthrough idea when you had completely stopped trying to figure things out. What's the common thread in those experiences? You weren't gripping. You weren't forcing. You were likely open, aligned, perhaps even just relaxed and available. That, my friends, is quantum manifestation at work, whether you consciously realized it or not. You see, the quantum field doesn't really care about your words as much as it cares about your underlying energy. You can say, I am wealthy, 1,000 times a day, but if your body is still broadcasting signals of fear around money, if your heart is still clenched in a pattern of scarcity, if your nervous system is still subtly addicted to the familiar feeling of struggle, the field will mirror that underlying chaos, that dominant frequency, back to you. Not because it's cruel or unfair, but because it's impeccably precise. So, here's the radical, yet simple, shift. Quantum manifestation truly begins when you stop focusing primarily on getting and start focusing profoundly on being. You consciously become the signal. You embody the vibration. You let your internal state lead, not your external effort. But that, of course, raises a critical question: what exactly does the quantum field respond to? Is it just thoughts? Is it just emotions? Is it beliefs? Actions? And how do you actually align all these different layers of yourself so they're not sending out confusing, mixed messages? This is where, unfortunately, most manifestation teachings tend to fall apart or become overly complicated. They often focus on just one piece of the puzzle, usually thoughts or feelings, without addressing the deeper coherence of your entire system. They might tell you to think positive, without helping you address the trauma or limiting beliefs stored in your body. They might tell you to visualize endlessly without guiding you on how to clear the subconscious sabotage that keeps derailing your efforts. They might tell you to affirm success while your nervous system is still unconsciously bracing for failure. But the quantum field listens to the whole signal, the integrated, embodied signal from your entire being. And that's why true alignment isn't just a mental game, it's a full body, full system, full field shift. As we move forward in this journey together, we're going to break down exactly how the quantum field works on a practical level. We'll explore why the observer effect matters so profoundly to your daily experience, what wave collapse really means for you, and how your subconscious mind broadcasts powerful signals even when you're not consciously aware of it. We're going to expose the elegant, simple mechanics behind what can often seem like magic. And I'm going to show you why manifestation works best, most powerfully, when you finally stop trying so damn hard. So here's my open question for you, and I invite you to just sit with this for a moment as we prepare for the next section. Where in your life are you currently trying so hard, pushing so intensely, that you might have inadvertently become the very block you're trying to break through? Are you ready to go deeper into the quantum with me? Alright, let's dive deeper into this mystery, this elegant dance, that you've been a part of without even fully knowing it. The quantum field, as we've established, isn't responding to your mere wishes, it's responding, with perfect precision, to your coherence. At its very heart, quantum manifestation isn't about thoughts alone, or emotions alone, or even actions alone. It's about how these three fundamental aspects of your being align into a single, coherent, unmistakable signal that the field can clearly read without any distortion. Think of the quantum field like a highly sophisticated cosmic translator. When your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are all in beautiful alignment, saying the same thing, vibrating at the same frequency, the message is crystal clear. The vibration is steady and strong. And the field responds, often almost instantly, by reflecting that clarity back to you. But, when you're thinking one thing, like, I want abundance, feeling another, like underlying fear of lack, and then doing something completely disconnected from your true desire, like hoarding or making fear-based financial decisions, the message gets scrambled. The field, in its perfect mirroring capacity, then reflects back not clarity, but that very chaos and confusion. This is where the observer effect, a cornerstone of quantum physics, comes directly into your personal experience. At the quantum level, as scientists have discovered, particles exist in a state of pure possibility, what they call a wave function. But when an observer, and that's you, focuses on a particular possibility, that wave of potential collapses into a fixed event. Reality, in a sense, solidifies. Choices crystallize. The unseen becomes seen. But here's the crucial catch: the observer is not just your conscious mind, the part of you that's setting goals and saying affirmations. The observer is also, and perhaps more powerfully, your subconscious mind. This means that even if you consciously want, say, abundance, if your subconscious mind is still deeply wired for survival, scarcity, or fear based on past experiences or inherited beliefs, the field primarily picks up on that hidden, often much stronger, broadcast. Your subconscious, in that case, becomes the true, dominant observer, inadvertently collapsing a timeline you didn't consciously choose. That's why so many people feel stuck. They're diligently aligning their surface mind, but they're largely ignoring the deep, powerful programs running constantly beneath the surface. And in the quantum game, the subconscious, with its deeply embedded frequencies, often wins. But it gets even more fascinating. Scientists and researchers like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Bruce Lipton have shown that the human heart has its own incredibly powerful electromagnetic field, one that is actually far stronger and more extensive than the brain's. This heart field radiates out from you and directly interacts with the larger quantum field around you. When your heart, your emotions, your feelings, and your brain, your thoughts, your intentions, are in coherence, when they're sending out a harmonious, unified signal, you become incredibly powerful. When they're out of sync, when your head wants one thing and your heart feels another, the signal becomes weak, fragmented, and confusing to the field. This is why trying to manifest from your mind alone, from intellect and willpower, so often fails or produces fleeting results. Without that emotional component, that felt sense of alignment from the heart, the quantum field simply has no clear, strong signal to mirror back. And this, right here, is where most people miss the mark. They want to think their way into change, when in truth, they must feel their way into genuine alignment. You can't just tell the field what you want, you have to become the vibrational match to it. That means consciously tuning your body, your breath, your nervous system, your deeply held beliefs, and your daily choices into resonant harmony with your desired reality. It's not a one-time ritual, it's a living, breathing practice. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you want to manifest a deep, loving partnership. You can write all the affirmations, make detailed vision boards, and visualize your ideal partner for hours. But if, deep down, you're carrying old wounds of unworthiness, if your nervous system is constantly braced for rejection or disappointment, if your heart is still armored and afraid to truly open, the quantum field feels that underlying tension. It picks up on that profound contradiction. And what you often get back is more longing, more searching, more, almost, but not quite, connections. It's not that the universe is punishing you or withholding love from you, it's that it's perfectly, precisely mirroring your dominant, often subconscious, frequency. So, what's the shift? The shift is into coherence. Into consciously feeling whole and complete now. Into practicing the elevated emotions of what you desire before it shows up in your physical reality. Into embodying the state of already having it, already being it, so deeply that the field has no choice but to collapse that timeline into tangible form. You become the frequency first, and then the form inevitably follows. Now, this might sound like a lot to manage, but here's the simple, profound truth that underpins it all. The more you consciously let go of trying to control the specific outcome, and the more you instead focus on regulating your own internal state, your own frequency, the faster and more effortlessly the quantum field responds. Because the human mind, bless its analytical nature, loves to complicate things. We want the 10 steps, the 5 hacks, the guaranteed formula. But the quantum field isn't a machine you operate with a manual, it's a mirror. It's a dance partner. It's alive, responsive, and incredibly intelligent. And it's simply waiting for you to meet it with a steady, embodied, coherent presence. So, here's where I want to invite you into this practice, right now. Just take a deep, conscious breath. Notice how your body feels as you listen to these words. Notice where you might be holding any tension, any resistance. Notice the stories that might be running in the background of your mind. And just for a moment, consciously soften. Let that internal grip loosen. Let go of that pressing need to fix everything, to force anything, to figure it all out right this second. Just dissolve into the present moment. Feel what it's like to be truly okay, right here, right now, without needing anything external to change for you to feel that sense of peace. This feeling, this presence, this is where your true power begins. And before we move on, I'd love to invite you into something that helps anchor this very shift. If you're feeling a spark of recognition, if something in you is lighting up right now as you hear this, please hit that subscribe button. Join this space, this ongoing conversation, this community of conscious creators. And in the comments below, drop one word, just one, that names the energy, the frequency, you consciously want to embody this week. Maybe it's trust. Maybe it's ease. Maybe it's joy. Whatever word comes to you first, that's your signal. Share it. Name it. Let it be real for you. Because the moment you name it, you begin to align with it even more powerfully. Are you ready to explore why almost no one talks about this elegantly simple part of manifestation, the part that's so straightforward it almost feels like cheating? Shall we move into that next layer? So, why is it that almost nobody actually does this simple yet profound practice of alignment and embodiment? Why, with all the countless books, courses, and endless YouTube videos on manifestation, do so many people still stay stuck, frustrated, and ultimately disappointed? The answer is both incredibly simple and, for many, deeply uncomfortable, because truly letting go feels profoundly unnatural to the conditioned human mind. The human mind, especially in our modern culture, is often addicted to control. We've been conditioned, from a very young age, to believe that the more we effort, the more we deserve. That struggle somehow equals worth. That the harder we work, the more likely we are to succeed. So, when we encounter a system like quantum manifestation, where the central key is actually coherence, alignment, and often, deep surrender, it completely short-circuits our ingrained programming. We keep trying to force outcomes, even though that very act of forcing is the frequency that tells the field, loud and clear, that we don't actually trust the process, that we don't believe it's already ours. Let's break this down even further. Most people who fail at manifestation, or feel like it's not working for them, are caught in what I call the control trap. They are constantly monitoring their results, looking for external validation. They visualize abundance but then check their bank account every hour with a knot of anxiety in their stomach. They script about finding their soulmate but then obsess over text messages and endlessly analyze dating app interactions. They declare vibrant health but then scan their body for symptoms every single morning. In doing all of this, they are inadvertently sending a powerful signal of mistrust to the field. They are affirming one thing consciously, but they are broadcasting the complete opposite subconsciously, through their energy, through their body. Why does this matter so much? Because, as we've discussed, the quantum field does not speak English, or Spanish, or Portuguese, or any human language. It speaks the universal language of energy. And energy never, ever lies. You can say all the right words, do all the right rituals, but if your nervous system is constantly braced for loss or disappointment, if your mind is locked in these tight loops of doubt, if your body is flooded with stress hormones like cortisol, the field primarily listens to, and responds to, that deeper, more dominant frequency. This is why so many people are utterly exhausted on their manifestation journey. They are doing all the things, but they are often doing them from an underlying place of hypervigilance, scarcity, and profound lack. And so, they loop. They manifest more waiting, more lack, more efforting, more searching. Because energetically, they are not yet living in the timeline of already having, they are stuck in the timeline of trying to get. And here's where it gets even more subtle and powerful. Your subconscious mind, as we know, runs about 95% of your life. It is the automatic pilot that shapes your habits, your core beliefs, your ingrained emotional reactions, and your fundamental sense of identity. You may consciously want to break through to a new level, but if your subconscious is still deeply anchored in old stories like, "I'm not enough," "nothing ever really works out for me," or "I have to fight for everything I get," those deeply embedded stories will, unfortunately, tend to collapse the wave of potential into the same old, familiar outcomes. This is why affirmations without genuine embodiment often feel hollow. This is why visualizations without nervous system regulation can collapse under the slightest pressure. This is why inspired action without an aligned identity often leads to burnout rather than breakthrough. So, what can you actually do about this? First, you must understand that quantum manifestation isn't just some add-on technique you apply to your life. It's a fundamental recalibration of your entire system. It's a remembering. It's a returning. It's about consciously becoming the version of you that already lives inside the timeline you desire, before you see any external evidence of that timeline in your physical world. For example, if you want to manifest greater abundance, you practice genuinely feeling abundant now. Not later, not when the money finally arrives, but right now, in this moment. You treat yourself and others with a sense of generosity, presence, and care. You consciously let go of micromanaging the outcome, and you instead focus on embodying the clear, unwavering signal of trust and sufficiency. If it's deep, soulful love you desire, you practice loving yourself, fully and unconditionally, now. You consciously open your heart, you soften your protective edges, you become the kind of secure, loving partner you wish to attract. You stop seeking external validation and start living as though you are already completely whole and enough, because you are. If it's vibrant health you're calling in, you stop constantly scanning your body for what's wrong, and you begin intentionally nurturing what's right, what feels good, what's already working. You shift from a mindset of survival mode into one of resilience and vitality. You practice gratitude for the amazing body you have, while gently, lovingly guiding it toward even greater well-being. And here's that beautiful paradox again: when you stop needing it so badly, it often arrives much faster. Not because the universe is testing you or playing some kind of cosmic game, but because by releasing that desperate need, you are no longer the primary source of resistance in your own energy field. So, let me ask you this directly: where in your life are you still holding the steering wheel with white-knuckled intensity? Where are you still obsessively measuring, tracking, forcing, and chasing? What do you think would happen if you just loosened your grip by, say, just 10%? Pause with that for a moment. This isn't about becoming passive, it's about consciously shifting from a paradigm of control to one of co-creation. And that shift, subtle, powerful, revolutionary, is precisely where quantum manifestation actually begins to work its magic in your life. As we move into our next block of understanding, we're going to talk about some simple, but rarely practiced, techniques that can help you genuinely realign your system, regulate your state, and become the clearest, most coherent signal possible to the quantum field. We'll explore how to dissolve internal resistance without bypassing your real emotions, how to build a deep, unwavering trust with your subconscious mind, and how to truly step into the timeline you desire as though it's already yours. So, here's my question for you to reflect on before we move forward: where in your life are you currently gripping so tightly that you might have inadvertently become the very block you're so desperately trying to remove? So, here we stand, right at the very edge, the precipice, of the most powerful truth in quantum manifestation, the part that almost no one really talks about with this kind of clarity, the part that's often hidden in plain sight. And it's this: you don't manifest what you merely want, you manifest what you fundamentally are. This isn't just some pretty, poetic idea, it's a fundamental principle that shapes exactly how the quantum field interacts with you, every single moment. The field doesn't respond to your meticulously crafted words, your beautiful vision boards, or your Pinterest perfect affirmations alone. It responds, with unwavering precision, to the signal of your being, that unique vibrational signature you carry into every room you enter, every thought you think, every interaction you have. And that signal is built, moment by moment, not primarily in what you're doing, but in how you're being. Let me explain this with a simple metaphor. Imagine you're a radio. If you want to hear a jazz station, you don't just sit there demanding jazz from the universe while your radio dial remains firmly tuned to a heavy metal station, right? No. You have to consciously change the dial. You have to tune your frequency to actually match what you want to receive. Quantum manifestation works in exactly the same way. You simply cannot pull in the timeline you desire while you are still predominantly vibrating in the frequency of the timeline you're trying to leave behind. So, how do you actually change that internal dial? You start by becoming acutely conscious of your current, dominant frequency. Not just what you think, but how you genuinely feel in your body, most of the time. How does your body move through the day? How do you breathe when you're stressed or anxious? What are the stories that run on an almost constant loop in the background of your mind? Most of us, if we're honest, are not manifesting deliberately, we're often manifesting on autopilot, unconsciously recycling the same old states, the same conditioned reactions, the same energetic broadcasts. And the field, in its perfect fidelity, faithfully mirrors those back to us. The shift, the real change, begins when you consciously interrupt that old pattern. Not with brute force, not with frantic, exhausting effort, but often with simple, embodied practices. It can be as subtle as taking a single, conscious breath in a moment of rising anxiety. It can be as gentle as placing a hand on your heart when you're spiraling into self-doubt or criticism. It can be as bold as asking yourself, with genuine curiosity, what would the version of me who already has this, who already is this, do or feel right now? And then, taking one small, aligned action from that empowered place. Because here's what almost no one really tells you with enough emphasis: the quantum field doesn't need you to be perfect, it just needs you to be coherent. Coherence happens when your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions all begin to move in the same direction, sending the same clear message. It's when you stop saying one thing, feeling another, and then doing something else entirely contradictory. It's when your whole system begins to hum with a single, unified, unambiguous signal. And when you reach that state of coherence, even briefly at first, you create a kind of powerful gravitational pull in the field. Reality genuinely begins to bend and reorganize itself around you. But let's get really practical with this. If you want to embody more abundance, you consciously practice generosity, not just with money, if that feels like a stretch right now, but with your attention, with your time, with your energy. You train your nervous system, through feeling and repetition, to recognize and embrace the sensations of, I have enough, I am enough, even if the numbers in your bank account haven't fully caught up yet. If you want to embody deeper, more authentic love, you practice vulnerability. You consciously open your heart in small, courageous ways, day by day. You strive to be the safe, loving space for yourself that you might be longing to find in someone else. If you want to embody vibrant health, you practice deep presence with your body. You listen to its wisdom. You feed it, move it, and rest it from a place of profound respect and gratitude, not from punishment or obligation. This is the simple path. And yet, so few truly walk it consistently. Because it asks you to go first. It asks you to become the frequency before the external evidence fully arrives. It asks you to lead with your state of being, not with your feeling of needing. And this brings us to one of the most misunderstood, yet absolutely crucial, pieces in this whole manifestation conversation: emotional regulation. People often assume that manifestation is about somehow forcing yourself to feel good all the time, about suppressing any negative emotions. It's not. True, sustainable manifestation is about feeling real all the time, and then learning how to skillfully, compassionately bring your system back into alignment when you inevitably wobble or get knocked off center. This means welcoming all your emotions, not bypassing them or judging them. It means holding space for your fear without letting it drive the car. It means practicing emotional fluency so you can navigate the inevitable waves of human experience without drowning in them. Here's the truth: you will wobble. You will doubt sometimes. You will have days when that old timeline, that old programming, pulls at your heels. That's okay. That's human. The real power isn't in never falling, it's in how you consciously, lovingly return to your chosen alignment. So, here's my invitation to you, right now, in this moment. Take a breath. Just notice where you are. Ask yourself, without any judgment, what timeline am I currently tuned to, in this very moment? Is it the one of fear, or the one of trust? Is it the one of lack, or the one of abundance? Is it the one of constantly waiting, or the one of joyful arrival? No judgment, just gentle noticing. Because the moment you notice, you create a choice point. And choice is the gateway to coherence. As we move into our final block, we're going to pull all of this together. We'll explore how to turn these profound insights into a living, breathing practice, how to navigate those inevitable setbacks with grace and wisdom, and how to truly sustain the frequency that collapses your dream timeline into your tangible reality. But before we continue, I really want to thank you for walking this journey with me so far. If you're feeling lit up by this, if you're feeling seen, if you're sensing that something deep inside you is already shifting and awakening, please hit that subscribe button. Join this space, this community, this ongoing conversation. And in the comments below, drop a single word that captures your core intention right now. Maybe it's allow. Maybe it's expand. Maybe it's flow. Whatever it is, that word becomes your powerful signal to the field. Here we are, at the final, most crucial piece of this quantum puzzle. And I really want you to hear this, to let it sink in deep. Manifestation is not a performance, it's a practice. It's not something you master once and then you're done, it's something you live, moment by moment, choice by conscious choice. So many people get stuck in the mindset that manifestation is about doing more, hacking the system, finding that perfect, elusive formula. But in truth, the most powerful manifestors, the ones who live truly extraordinary lives, aren't necessarily the ones who know the most techniques, they're the ones who have learned how to consistently hold a coherent state, how to lovingly regulate themselves back into alignment when life inevitably shakes them or throws them a curveball. Because here's the reality, you will face moments that test your resolve. There will be days when fear creeps back in, when old, limiting patterns whisper doubt in your ear, when the timeline you're consciously trying to leave behind feels like it's magnetically pulling you back. And in those moments, you'll be tempted, oh so tempted, to go back into that old control mode, to push, to force, to micromanage everything. But the real mastery, the true quantum power, is this: can you stay rooted in the frequency of trust, even when the external evidence hasn't fully arrived yet? Can you hold the unwavering vibration of, it is already done, while the world around you still looks largely the same? Can you become so anchored in your new, chosen timeline that the old one no longer has the power to seduce you back into its limitations? This is where true embodiment becomes absolutely non-negotiable. So, let's make this super practical. Every morning, before you even check your phone, before the world rushes in, take just a few conscious breaths and ask yourself, what frequency am I choosing to tune into today? Is it scarcity, or is it abundance? Is it fear, or is it trust? Is it control, or is it flow? Throughout your day, use your body as your compass. Your body will tell you, with unerring accuracy, when you've slipped out of alignment. You'll feel the tension, the tightness, the contraction. And in that moment, you don't need to shame yourself or spiral into negativity. You just need to notice, breathe, and consciously recalibrate. Ask yourself, what would the version of me who is already living in my desired timeline choose, feel, or do right now? And then, take one small, aligned action from that empowered place. And at night, before you drift off to sleep, perhaps replay your day, not with judgment, but with gentle curiosity. Where did you wobble? Where did you successfully align? Where did you glimpse your own incredible power? Remember, gratitude amplifies coherence. Acknowledge even the smallest wins, the tiniest shifts. Now, here's something that most people often miss, and it's incredibly important: community matters. We are social, energetic beings. We literally co-regulate with the people around us. When you consciously surround yourself with others who are also practicing coherence, who are joyfully playing in the quantum field, who are committed to their own embodiment and expansion, your system naturally entrains to that higher vibration. This is why it's so vital to curate your environment, not just physically, but energetically. Find the voices, the spaces, the communities that consistently remind you of who you are truly becoming. Fill your field with reminders of your chosen timeline. Let your external world become a powerful ally to your internal practice. And please, remember this: there's no finish line in this journey. The point isn't to arrive somewhere and then just stop. The point is to live inside a continuous, joyful unfolding, where you become the living, breathing edge of your own evolution. Where you don't just manifest things, but you become someone who lives as a conscious creator, a co-creator with the universe, an active, joyful participant in the ongoing process of shaping reality. Because here's the most beautiful part of all: the quantum field is not separate from you. It's not something out there that you have to manipulate from a distance. It's something you are intrinsically, quantumly entangled with. You are the field. You are the wave. You are the observer and the observed. So, when you consciously tune your frequency, you're not just asking life to meet you, you're becoming the very version of life you've been seeking. I want to leave you with this heartfelt invitation. In the comments below, drop one single word that captures the energy, the frequency, you are consciously choosing to carry forward after watching this video. Maybe it's alignment. Maybe it's ease. Maybe it's power. Maybe it's something uniquely and personally yours. Let that word be a small but incredibly profound declaration, a quantum seed you plant, not just in this shared space, but deep within yourself. And if this video has stirred something inside you, if you felt a shift, a remembering, a spark of recognition, I warmly invite you to subscribe. This isn't just a channel, it's a living space, a gathering point for those of us who are ready to step fully into our own creative power. When you hit subscribe, you're not just joining a list, you're joining a movement of minds and hearts who are actively reshaping what's possible. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Thank you for your presence, your attention, your precious energy. You are not just a viewer, you are a vital participant in this magnificent unfolding. Keep tuning. Keep aligning. Keep becoming.